silent experiment, the open truth about biological testing on indigenous peoples. The colonization of the American continent was carried out not only by the power of swords and guns, but also with one of the most terrifying weapons in human history, biological experiments. Most of these experiments remained secret for a long time. Only some documents have survived to this day, standing as an open stain on humanity's conscience. 1763, at Fort Pitt, the British deliberately infected the Delaware tribe with smallpox. By order of British officer Geoffrey Amherst, blankets contaminated with smallpox were given as gifts to tribal leaders. The result was horrifying. The epidemic claimed thousands of innocent lives. This is known as the first documented case of biological warfare in history. End of the 19th century. In the United States, tuberculosis vaccine trials were mainly carried out in reservations. Native children were gathered into special orphanages and sometimes given experimental drugs without parental consent. In the early 1900s, such experiments in reservations in North Dakota and Minnesota led to the deaths of hundreds of children. Official reports coldly noted only that necessary statistical data was obtained. 20th century. From the 1930s onward, forced sterilization of Native American women became one of the darkest chapters. By the 1970s, around 25% of Native women in the U.S. had been forcibly sterilized. Many of them had gone to doctors for something as simple as a cold, only to come out of the operating room without their reproductive organs. Entire communities' populations plummeted overnight. 1960s Alaska, it was revealed that radiation testing was carried out on northern or indigenous peoples such as the Yupik and Inuit. Some groups were given chemical substances described as protective medicine against radiation. But in reality, their resistance to radiation was being tested. Some suffered severe health effects and many children were born disabled. 1980s, in some reservations, the U.S. Public Health Service secretly implemented an experimental contraception program. Even as native populations were shrinking, hidden sterilizing drugs were given without consent. This was only revealed later. These facts are documented. Only in the 1990s, when certain archives were opened and indigenous groups filed lawsuits, did the truth begin to emerge. But the damage can never fully be undone. How many millions were silently lost? That number will never truly fit into any statistic. Today, the descendants of the victims still seek justice. Some demand compensation. Some have taken the fight to court. But the most important thing is that this part of history must remain a lesson for future generations. The most dangerous way to destroy a nation is through biological warfare. Indigenous peoples were the first to feel this horror in their own bodies. That's why we, too, must remember that unthinkable experiments do not exist only in books.